Hey everyone! In this video, I'm going to show you how to research your new e-commerce idea. If you're thinking about starting an e-commerce business, you probably have a few ideas in your mind already. If you don't, watch this video, this will help a lot. And I also have another video with some really cool trends and ideas for this year and the upcoming years, so watch that. But once you have a few ideas in your head, you want to make sure that you maximize your opportunity for success without actually spending a ton of money on inventory, on advertising, and a lot of the other costs that are associated with e-commerce businesses. So in this video, we're going to look at how to test and research your idea before you actually start and save a bunch of money. If you're new here, my name is Kasey Luck. I run Luck & Co agency. We are an agency that helps e-commerce companies run email and SMS marketing. Again, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. I post a lot of videos like this with amazing e-commerce tips, and make sure that you like the video as well, because this helps us a ton in creating more content like this. So without further ado, let's jump right into the content. And I'm going to use an actual example of an idea that I had for an e-commerce business that I wanted to start once upon a time. I kind of gave up on that idea afterwards, but I think it's a great example for a video. I wanted to sell granola. I thought, hey, I make amazing granola at home. I can't find granola this good anywhere in the stores. And the first few times that I made it, it was really fun and I enjoyed it. But then it became kind of a drag and I was like, I don't want to make this granola all the time. I would rather buy it. If I could buy this quality granola and this tasty granola in the store or online, I would, but there's none that I really liked. So I wanted to start a granola e-commerce business. So I'm going to use this idea to actually show you everything that I'm doing. So once you start researching your ideas, there are 4 major areas of focus or questions that you want to be researching. And we're going to go through all 4, and the first 3 are kind of boring, and then the 4th one is really interesting. So stick around. The first 3 are going to go super fast because they're just kind of easier to research, and then the 4th one is really cool and it's going to take the majority of the time. So the 4 questions are: number 1, regulatory requirements and legal obstacles; number 2, manufacturing complexity; number 3, ease of distributing the product, so how easy will it be to actually get that product out into the market and get it to people's homes; and then number 4, consumer demand for your product. So the consumer demand is probably the most important question to answer for your idea, because if there's demand, if people want this product, then you have really great chances of success. Of course, the competitor market is also important, but if there's no demand, you better find out before you actually produce your product, because you're going to save a lot of money by being able to judge the demand before you get started. So let's go through the first 3 first. I know they're boring, but they're important, and then we'll get to the 4th one. So number 1, regulatory requirements and legal obstacles. For any idea that you have, you want to know in advance whether you're going to have to face any legal obstacles or regulatory requirements from your state or from your country in whatever market you're operating. With something like granola, I'm probably not going to have to deal with a lot of stuff, although because it's food, because people eat it, I probably have to research FDA stuff, and just it's a good idea to just Google and Google a simple question: what do I need to sell granola in California or in the United States or something like that. And this question is very important, and the way you research it is just kind of like common sense. If it's something like a t-shirt, you probably don't need much apart from setting up a normal business structure. If it's something like food, you probably need to think a little bit more about this. And then if it's something like CBD or alcohol especially, or anything that gets into that territory, like medical devices or medical substances, then you definitely need to be very strict and careful about this, because depending on what level of regulatory permissions you will need to get, this might be costly. So you want to know this stuff in advance. Again, the way you research this is a simple Google search, use the common sense, and then if you see that it's starting to get more complicated, then find people who operate in this market. You can find them on LinkedIn, just kind of like search people on LinkedIn and connect with them. and say what you're looking for, or talk to friends and family, and you'll be able to figure this out. Question number 2 is manufacturing complexity. How am I actually going to produce or manufacture this thing that I want to sell to people? Again, in my case with granola, the way I went about it, like when I first thought about it, I had no idea how to produce granola in order to sell it later on. And I talked to some friends, I talked to some entrepreneurs that I know, and one of them actually also had a little business way back in the day selling some food stuff. And he told me that there's things like community kitchens or like community commercial kitchens or something like that, where you actually just rent time in that commercial kitchen, so you don't have to own the whole thing, and it has all of the equipment and everything that you might need. Of course, if you want to create something specific, something that's never been done before, and you need very specific type of machines and manufacturing, it might not be a good fit. But with granola, I'm not, it's not rocket science. I'm probably not going to need any big machines or anything like that, so I could just use that option. Again, the way you research this is you just simply Google, how do I make blah, 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 whatever your idea is. Talk to some people who are in the industry, search for people on LinkedIn who are in this market and see if you're able to connect with them and ask them questions and see how they do it. Another great way is actually that I think is looking for entrepreneurs who are selling a similar product that you think would be manufactured in a similar way, but who wouldn't be your direct competitors if you were to go on and actually create this idea. Because you can reach out to them, and entrepreneurs, especially younger entrepreneurs who just started recently a few years ago, they're very open about sharing their journey and helping other entrepreneurs. Like, for example, if I were to start a granola thing, I know this woman who started this business selling cookie dough. It's just cookie doughs in a jar, and she's had great success. So granola is not really competing with cookie dough. Like, you either want one or another. We wouldn't be competitors. But I know that the equipment and the manufacturing facilities would probably be similar. So I would reach out to her and say, hey, I'm actually thinking about starting a granola e-commerce business. I know, like, I followed your journey and admire what you do. Would you be open to answering a couple of questions? If you're open to a phone call, let's do that. And just send a simple LinkedIn message like that to 10 people. And I guarantee if your message is good, at least 2 to 3 to 5 people will respond to you. And you'll be able to gather lots and lots of information that way. So that's how you figure out number 2. And remember, we're just researching ideas preliminary at this stage. So you want to have a good idea of how you will go about it once you actually launch into this, but you don't need to know every little detail. That's not what we're doing yet. That's what you're going to do once you actually launch. For now, you just need to know what kind of things you will be facing and approximately how much it's going to cost you, so you can forecast some expenses and budgets. If your ideas are more complex than granola, if they require manufacturing abroad, a good tool that I want to recommend to you is called Import Genius. So go to Import Genius. I'm on their website right now, and this is a super cool tool. It costs about $150 to $200 a month, so you gotta pay for it. But the information you get from it is amazing. You can search for all of the imports that were coming into the United States and then a few other countries that they have on the website in whatever time frame. You can search by keywords. You can search by companies and what kind of imports they're doing. It's really, really amazing. So the way I would use it at this stage of the business is I would type in a lot of my competitors, competitors to be, and then see what they're importing, their volumes of imports, and then the companies that are importing stuff for them. And then just take each of those companies and then Google them, reach out to them, give them a call and say, hey, I'm actually thinking of starting this company and I want to produce this type of product. Will you guys be able to help me? How much is it going to cost me? What's the minimum amount of volume that I can order from you guys in order to test this at first? So this is an amazing, amazing resource. And if you're serious about starting your e-commerce business, I definitely recommend paying for this for at least a few months to fully research your idea and see what's possible for you if you will be requiring importing stuff from abroad. The third question is the ease of distributing the product. And this is kind of like another common sense one. It's one of the factors that you definitely want to play in your decision making, especially if you have multiple different ideas and you're trying to understand which is the best one and which one has the biggest opportunity for profit, because some products are more difficult to ship than others. For example, if your product includes glass or glass containers or glass anything, it's going to be extra expensive because they have to be handled with care. You probably need glass is more heavy than plastic, for example, and a lot of other materials. So that's something that you need to be thinking about. If your product is extra heavy, can't really come up with any examples, but if it's really, really heavy and it's not reflected in the price for some reason, and you will have to pay a lot for shipping just because it weighs so heavily, then you'll need to be thinking about that. So it's just something that you need to have in the spreadsheet or however you rate your ideas. Make sure that you have this factor, the ease of distributing this product, because it will play out once you actually start shipping it. With something like granola, one thing that I can foresee that people will, like when people buy food online, they prefer to buy in smaller quantities, especially at first, before they've tried it for the first time, because they're not sure. Are they going to like it? Are they not going to like it? And so most people will want to buy just kind of like one package of that granola, but it is going to be a lot more cost-effective for me to ship in bigger quantities, to ship in bigger boxes. So I will be wanting to be selling like 4, 8 packs at a time because it's cost-effective for shipping. So most likely it's going to be hard for me to come up with how to encourage people to buy a lot more of that granola they've never tried before upfront. So that's a cost I will have to factor in. If I want to be selling that granola for $5 to $10, I will have to think that, I will also need to pay for shipping. I will either need to ask my customers to pay for shipping, which that's going to drive the conversion rate down a lot because people hate paying for shipping. Or I will have to pay that myself, in which case my profit on that first sale goes to 0, which makes the mathematics and the economics of this very hard. So before, as you rank your different ideas, make sure that you factor this in. Some products are a lot more profitable and cost-effective to ship than others. All right, so the fourth and the most exciting part of this video and of your research process is figuring out the demand for your product. As I mentioned, all of the previous 3 questions were super important. You really need to answer them as you rank your ideas, but this one is the most important. If people don't want to buy your product, if they're not interested in this product type, you're just not going to be able to sell anything. So that's why it's so important. I have a list of a few different ways in which we're going to be gauging that demand for your product. And the first one is very simple. It's Google Trends. Just go to Google Trends. And we're going to search for a few different keywords and obviously pick keywords that would lead eventually people to your product. So in my case, I can be doing something like granola, and then let's look at the search trends over time. And Google is showing me past 12 months, but you can search something else and then see where's the demand for this keyword. And then you can be comparing this to something else. Let's say, granola is probably very similar in producing and manufacturing and probably even, not so much marketing, but still to cookies. So why don't I do granola versus cookies? And I see that the cookies are a lot more popular. So that's probably the first sign that I should be thinking, maybe granola, even though I'm very passionate about granola, is not so popular with other people. So that's something to think about. So what you want to be doing is putting different search terms and then comparing to something else. So another thing that I can compare it to is one kind of like hesitation that I have in my head is, are people ready to buy granola online? Because it's something that you're so used to buying in a supermarket, and it's kind of almost easier to buy it in a supermarket. So I'm just going to do granola online. And and I see that nobody searches for granola online. Maybe it's just a weird keyword, and people find, when people eventually do buy granola online, they find it differently through Instagram or influencers, but people are definitely not searching for it. So if I were to count on search advertising, I would have I would have a very hard time because people are not searching for it. So that's the number one thing that you want to be doing. So the next thing, and this is one of my favorite things because I like spying on competitors, is you want to see the site traffic of your competitors. This kind of helps you gauge who else is in your market, who would you be competing with, and then what kind of traffic are they able to get to your website? Because that's the first thing that you will need to work on as you start your e-commerce business is get people to that website. You really need traffic. And so if your competitors are struggling to get traffic, if they're like at 10,000 views or 20,000 views per month, which might seem like a lot for beginners, but really to have a sustainable business, it's not so much. You want to have 50,000 visitors per month or more. You'll kind of be like, even if people who've been in this for like years are not able to get significant traffic, maybe I shouldn't be going into this. So the first thing, let me do this. I'm going to Google granola. So a lot of this search results are actually going to be recipes, and I don't want recipes. I want products. So why don't I do buy granola online? Nuts.com, Amazon. Okay, Golden Girl Granola is definitely a brand. Oh, and Michelle's Granola is actually one of the very few granolas that I do like. That's sold and not made in my kitchen. Okay, nuts.com is not something that I'm interested in. Golden Girl Granola, okay, let's see what this is. Looks like very simple type of granola based on the way that, oh, this is actually exactly how I make this. This this video just looks so yummy. Based on the way their website looks, I'm going to assume it's not a huge brand. And so the Chrome extension and the tool that you use to see other people's traffic is called SimilarWeb. So just go to SimilarWeb and install the Chrome extension to your Chrome browser. And then you go to any website, you click that Chrome extension, and you'll be able to see their search traffic. Or their traffic in general. This one is not showing me traffic, which means they don't have a lot of traffic. So that's not a good idea. I mean, that's not a big brand. All right, so something as an email marketer, of course, that I love on this website, on Michelle's Granola, is that they have an email sign up. I'm actually already signed up to their list, but let's see if they've added something that as an email geek I like to do is always sign up for email lists because it helps me see have they improved anything, what new things they're doing. So I'm going to sign up for their SMS too. Oop, great, a little slow, but that's fine. This website looks a lot better. Let's look at all of this. Awesome. Okay, so Chrome extension, give me some results. Okay, no results either. For comparison, let's go to this really sexy, trendy e-commerce brand called Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon, they sell not granola, but cereal. They are kind of more innovative brand because they created this granola that's supposedly super low carbs and very high protein. And it's like, you grew up, like their tagline is you grew up, but your cereal didn't, so we changed that. Let's look at their traffic. I know that they have VC funding too, so they have a lot more resources. So for comparison, they have almost 1 million, right? 960,000 monthly visits. So yeah, almost 1 million visitors per month on their website. But again, if like, to get to this type of traffic, A, you need time, and then 2, I know that they have VC funding, so you need resources. So, okay, so what am I gathering from this so far for my brand, for granola? There's not a lot of brands that are selling their granola online. Those who do don't get a lot of traffic. So this actually, I mean, this can both be an opportunity and an obstacle. This could be a sign that, hey, people actually are not buying granola online. So maybe it's not such a good idea, or maybe that means there is an opportunity in the market. So I'm just going to check a few more. This one, no traffic. This one, no traffic. I mean, not no traffic, but the traffic is so low that it's not detectable by SimilarWeb. And Granola Factory, I'm not sure if this is a brand, but I'm sure they don't have a bunch of traffic either. So what it's telling me, personally, I think that it's actually not such a good sign. I want to be early in the market. I don't want to be the first one. Being the first one is always very, very hard. So don't like what I'm seeing for granola. So the next thing that you want to do is, or that you can be doing, this doesn't as much give you like a very good signal, but it shows you the competitive market and how other brands are advertising their product. So something that you could do is go to just Google Facebook ad library. And then the first result will be the Facebook ad library. And not a lot of people know this, but you can look up ads by any brand that advertises on Facebook and see all of the ads that they are running. So let's go and search ads in the United States. And very important, you need to select ad category here, otherwise you won't see the results. So let's Michelle's granola. Oh, there it is. It's that granola brand that I said that I actually do like. So they're not advertising a lot. They only have one ad running. Is it active? Yeah, it is active. So they're running one ad, but it's just one. Again, for comparison, let's look up that other brand, Magic Spoon, which I'm sure they're advertising a ton, because to get that type of traffic, you need to be doing that. Okay, so 390 results. I'm not sure if that means that they're running 390 ads. They very well could be, but this is like for comparison. This is a sign of a brand that is probably growing fast. Not sure if thriving, but at least they're experimenting a ton. They probably have a lot of traffic. They have resources, which tells you something. What I would be doing next is actually have a clear list of all of my granola competitors and input all of them into Facebook ad library and see what they're doing with ads, whether they're advertising and how much. And if all of the results kind of look like Michelle's granola, which I'm guessing just from the fact that we just saw the traffic on other websites, probably most granola brands are doing similarly. Again, that's like not a very good sign, because it tells me that companies in this market, products in this market, are not playing in the e-commerce space online, or they're not seeing a lot of results, like a lot of traction. So that's where we are with the Facebook ad library. Okay, so the next one, and we've already talked about this tool, is called Import Genius. So let's go back to Import Genius. And once you have an account there, you can actually input all of the brands, especially like the bigger they are, the more chances they're in Import Genius, and see all of the imports that they're getting. And this, like just the volumes of their import, is going to give you a very good idea on whether like they're very active, they're having a lot of sales. The more they're importing, the more they're selling. So that's a very good way to gauge the competitive market and kind of how everybody else is doing in this market. And then the final thing that I have on here is Jungle Scout, and this is a super cool tool. It's actually for Amazon research and building your store on Amazon. I'm not so much into Amazon. All of the brands that we work with, they have their own Shopify stores. But once you have an account in Jungle Scout, it's cheaper than Import Genius. You can get an account for something like $40 per month. What you can do is you can go on Amazon and actually see the sales volume for each result in Amazon. So you can look at every one of these search results and see their search volume and a lot of other information that's going to give you very good data about, hey, whether this is popular, whether there's not enough search results. So all of those signals that help you identify and judge the demand for these types of products. So if you've started with multiple ideas for e-commerce businesses on your list, by the end of this process, again, you should run this process for each of those ideas, but by the end of it, you should have a clear idea which ideas kind of have more potential for success based on the ease of regulatory stuff, how easy it is to ship those products, and how much demand there is for that type of product versus some other ones. And so for the top 1 to 2 ideas or products that you have on your list, what I would recommend doing is actually setting up landing pages or very simple e-commerce shops and then running ads. I recommend starting to run ads before you even have products, before you have them manufactured and you've bought the inventory. Create a simple landing page and then start creating your ads, whether that's in Facebook Ads Manager or if you're thinking that search ads are going to be great for this type of product, do that. And then lead that traffic to the landing page. And then from there, you have a few different choices. You can kind of simulate the shopping experience. And then on the last stage of like before taking people's money, you can say, hey, we're actually working on getting our inventory in place. Once it's ready, we will email you, sign up here so that you're the first one to hear. Seeing the number of people who get to that step will give you a good idea of what you can count on. So that's one of your options. Another option is actually letting people check out and letting people pay you money, but saying upfront, hey, we're actually, you can say we're out of stock and this is on back order and you pay now and then the product will be here in 2 months. And when it's here, we will ship it to you. And then of course, if this is a test and you're not sure whether you actually will ship this or not, make sure that if you decide not to do it, you refund everybody their money. Remember, this is just a test. You're not actually selling anything yet. You're just trying to understand customer demand. And then the third option is, it's more tricky. You will have to look into the legality of this, but letting people check out and buy your product, but then refunding them immediately and saying, hey, we're actually out of stock. We're not sure when we will get more of this inventory. So we went ahead and refunded your money. The money probably wasn't even charged from your bank account. Thank you so much for your interest. Once it's back in stock, we will email you or send you an SMS message. So I know these options probably sound scary, but it's so much easier and safer and better to test all of this stuff before you actually invest a lot of money into all of that inventory and figure out the shipping and manufacturing and all of that stuff. Because the only other option is actually go through all of those steps, spend a lot of time, spend a lot of money, start advertising and see that people are just not reacting to your ads at all. So a better order of things is to do advertising first, figure out the messaging that works, figure out the target audience that you wanna target, because that's the key for any e-commerce business. And then once you have all of that figured out, once it's working, once you know what kind of monthly traffic you can count on with what type of budget, then you go and produce and manufacture all of those products and kind of start getting inventory and start shipping it out to people. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. We have lots of different videos on this YouTube channel, including the most profitable niches for e-commerce businesses this year and then the years beyond, and then all of the things that you need to know to set up email marketing, SMS marketing, and a few other things for your new e-commerce store. So check out those videos, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never miss another awesome video like this one. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.